Okay.
Like my purpose is to eat bananas every day. And where did you get that? Well, I just
Made it up.
Yeah. So you need to ask yourself, if you have a concept of a deity or a god, which is the universe, and you think the universe brought you into existence and must have a reason to bring you into existence. So you can't just assume the reason of my existence to find out what the existence is, my purpose is. No, that's you speculating. So has the universe told you specifically, or anyone else for that matter?
My idea of the purpose of why I'm here.
No, not my idea, not your idea.
Yes, I'm telling you my idea.
No, not your idea. I'm not interested in your idea.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the universe's reason. What is the reason the universe created you? So to know that, we have to go to where? This brother? Well, if I say he's the source to find out why the universe created you, does he have a communication with the creator or this universe?
No.
Right. So he can be excluded. We have to go to the universe. So have you got a direct communication from the universe telling you, Imo, I created you for that purpose?
Not directly, but I still pray every day. So I try to communicate.
No, this is you reaching out.
Yeah.
Right? Look, you can look at this beautiful woman and say, oh, I love her and so on, but she doesn't even know you. It doesn't work. Does the creator that you think exists told you why it has created you? Is the question. So have you had a communication from the creator?
A direct communication?
Yeah.
No.
Right,
But
so how do you then know for sure and have that conviction with certainty that this is the reason the universe created you?
Because I'm here and I'm talking and I exist.
Okay, my
purpose
purpose in life is to eat chocolates every day.
And you can do that.
No, is that the reason the creator created me?
If you believe it, then
No, it's not what I want to believe. It's about the reality, facts. So if the creator created me for eating chocolates, and actually it's the purpose for every human being to eat chocolates, and you're not doing that, then you're actually disobeying the creator.
Yeah,
Right.
From your perspective.
No. If that was in reality, the purpose of human creation. So it's essential for us to know for sure then why we are created. So it's not any benefit for us to speculate. Oh, Mansoor says, the reason we are created is to eat chocolates. Well, I'm sure many people will disagree. So how did you know that? This is what the creator said. That's why exactly we ask you, how do you convince yourself with some evidence at hand that the creator indeed created you for whatever purpose that was?
The fact that there's good and bad in the world.
Don't go into speculation. Your speculation is,
How can I give you a definitive
let
answer?
me tell you what it is. To have answer to this question, why are we created by a creator? I can speculate. Like I came up with a very silly idea that we are created to eat chocolates, right? People can come up with millions and zillions of ideas like that. Speculation. What we are interested in, a foolproof way of knowing directly from the creator what the purpose is. So in the absence of that, whatever you say, oh, there's good and bad, there's this, these are all speculations. And people, not us, Tom, Dick and Harry's, philosophers who people think they're very clever, they have come up with lots of different ideas themselves and they don't agree. Okay? So Indian Sanatani philosophers might think baking your own feces and eating it a form of worship and having this communion with God. You might say that's disgusting. So to make sure that we don't fall into this error of human speculations when it comes to the reality of things, we really have to be critical in our approach. Yep.
Logical and
Critical. So critical thinking means then, if you're going to hold on to this idea why you created, do you have that communication from the creator directly? And you said no. That means you cannot be sure what your purpose is. Yeah, that's your opinion.
Can you be sure what your purpose is? And
Yes.
if so, can you demonstrate it?
Yeah. We can only be sure by knowing what the creator has told us. So our purpose in life, we don't just say this is what it is. We have communication directly from the creator. And based on based on that, this is the claim we make. This next question is, how do you establish that that was the direct communication from the creator? In principle, it's agreed. Yep, it makes sense. If the Creator told you directly, then that would be the purpose of your life. So this is something that we have to agree on, first of all. And if you ask me that, I would say, yeah, of course, the Creator has communicated to us directly. And as Muslims, we will tell you, the Creator gave His communication, His words, His speech, His guidance to a human agent. We call a prophet or a messenger, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His name is Muhammad, okay? 1400 years ago. And he received that message from God, and He's given it to us, and we can actually examine this message today. How do we then, by looking at this message itself, establish that indeed this is from Creator, from our God? And the one who gave us, how do we establish He's indeed the recipient of that message, not an imposter, not a fake individual claimed to be, oh, I receive revelation, I receive inspiration, I receive truth from God. So it's two things, right? One is to ascertain and be confident of the prophet and the messenger, that he is indeed a prophet and messenger of this Creator. And second is, whatever he's brought, is that truly, evidently, the message from God. Do you agree so far? This is the process we should take? Good. So let's start with the prophet. How was he before he claimed to be a prophet? Because if we find an individual, excuse me. No. Just leave that. Okay, I mean, never mind. If we find an individual who has known in his community to be a deceptive individual, a fraud, a liar, a dishonest individual, his community testified to that, and whatever then he says later, you will be questioning his motive. I mean, this man is known to be a fraud, a fraudster. How am I going to believe in him? What basis do I have? What reasonable basis, logical basis do I have to trust him? You really have to go and, turn everything upside down and say, okay, let me give him a benefit of doubt and let's see whether he's truthful now, he's changed his mind. Do you see the problem here? Because you really have to go and understand deeply whether he's repented and so on and so forth, but still there will be a question. He could be making another lie, another fraud. Yep. That's how we should start assessing it. But when you examine Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what you will find is totally opposite. For the 40 years of his life, his community testified about him that he is a truthful individual, a reliable person. As-Sadiq al-Amin. This was a title given to him. A truthful, reliable, trustworthy individual.
Can I ask you a question then? So if the Prophet Muhammad was so trustful and everyone believed in what he was saying, why was there conflict during and after he died?
Sure. Conflict of what nature?
So there were people that rebelled against what he was teaching.
Yeah.
The Arabs at the time that believed in polytheism, they were all against it. His own uncle was against it.
Correct. So let me explain. So in principle, at least he stands out as a candidate for our scrutiny and assessing him whether indeed he could be potentially a recipient of the revelation, because he's truthful. That's what the claim is. And then you have these other objections. We'll come to that. So let's establish, his truthfulness by giving an example. So when he received revelation from God, he demonstrated that, in terms of exposing the hypocrisy of his people as well, because he knows his people how it's like. He's been living with them for 40 years. So he went into one of the mountains and he called them. Just like in the earlier times when there was no, mobile phones or emergency alarms and things like this, people had different mechanisms. Like they would go to a church bell, ding, 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 and then, you have to all gather together, right? Arabs had a similar kind of emergency call, emergency protocol. So if somebody goes on the top of the mountain and says, Ya Sabaha, something of this nature, they will say something important that we need to all go.
How Jesus was preaching to Jews at the time.
Possibly. So they all left their work, their study, their attendance, whatever it might be. They came to this place. An imminent danger perhaps. That's why someone is calling them. This is the routine protocol. So he said to them, if I told you that there's an army behind the mountain waiting to attack you, would you believe? Guess what they said?
What did they say?
Have a guess. He said, hear the words again. He said, if I told you there's an army waiting to attack you behind the mountain, would you believe me? What do you think they would have replied?
If they believe what he was saying about preaching and everything, they would believe and they'll say yes.
They would say yes based on what?
Based on
their previous experience of him, that he never lied. Yep. And they indeed said that, we would believe you because we've never known you to lie. And then when he said, I come to tell you that God has made me a prophet, I'm paraphrasing these narratives, he's made me a prophet to tell you and inform you that there is no deity or gods worthy of worship, not these idols that you worship, but there's only one and only God that we should all worship, abandoning all these false gods. That's where some of them people turned aside. Because what's going to happen now? Because they realize their whole livelihood, their whole economy, their whole business is based on this polytheistic belief system of making idols in Mecca. People will come for Hajj and different occasions, bring in money. Yeah? And now all of these idols are defunct. They are now totally annihilated. They are no longer in action. So no one will come and give them any homage, any puja, any worship, any money, any resources. Financially, they will be all bankrupt and dead. Their business. That's why they were saying, what? They didn't want to do that. But those who, of course, understood already that there cannot be more than one God, of course they realized, indeed, it must be it. That was just from his statement and claim alone, from his character. Not looking at any other evidence. The only evidence those were impressed by is his 40 years of life in which he demonstrated the purity of character, truthful, reliable. Okay, so they turned later on, instead of accepting this call, to fight him, to oppose him, to stop him calling people to the worship of one God. Yeah, worship of one God. That was their problem with him. So when he started calling people later on, stop burying your daughters alive. Of course, it was a tradition that was so much in their blood and their skin or bones. It's in my blood, in my flesh and blood. So much that it requires for them to really wake up. Like, why am I burying my daughters alive? So when the Quran came with that message, it really woke some people and said, yeah, we should stop doing that practice. But others, for them, this is our tradition. Why are we going to? So these kind of revolutionary ideas that goes against societal norms, people can react to and oppose. It's a natural thing. Those who are
even before the Prophet, we've seen it with Jesus, and we've seen it probably before that as well. And when with Moses or Musa, whatever you want to call him, people opposed him when he came to Egypt and tried to exile the Jews. People were against the ten